Welcome back to the channel, Spartans. So it's been an awesome last few days. If you've been keeping tabs with me, then you saw that a Reddit user found Series 7 Spartan Collection Fred at a GameStop in Texas. And then once that got wind, it was like a frenzy. A bunch of collectors went out to their GameStops, and they not only found Fred, but they also found Alice and Halo 3 Chief. So far, nobody has found Yokai, and I'm not sure what the deal is with that. Maybe it's going to be like a online exclusive or something. But either way, these are now showing up at GameStops. Not only Texas, but also sightings in California as well. I have like 5 GameStops within a 40-minute radius of my home. I called each store, and only one of them had them in stock. Unfortunately, they didn't have Chief or Yokai, so I'll still be on the hunt for those. Alright, we're going to kick this off with Fred. And it's crazy because I had literally just reviewed the Neon Superfly, so it feels like an omen that these are now hitting. I know they were slated for fall, but I mean, hey, the earlier the better, honestly. So these are $21.99, and I guess if you're a pro, you get them for $20. And it seems like each GameStop is only getting one set in stock. I haven't seen at least anybody posting that they've received or saw multiple of the same figures. So this is the infamous Series 7, and I say infamous because we got a glimpse of these figures on the back of the Jega packaging, and it's been so long since we had any Spartan Collection figures. And to be honest, I haven't purchased really any Spartan Collection figures. I put most of my focus in the world of Halo. For the reason is I just love the playability of the world of Halo, and I wasn't a big fan of the knees from the Spartan Collection when they changed them, but Series 7 has reverted back to some awesome looking knees. Again, nobody has found Yokai yet, so I'm not sure what the deal is. I mean, that's definitely a figure I want, and I know the community wants it as well. But once I get wind of it, or anybody does, then, you know, I'll definitely be posting some updates. I gotta say, I am really enjoying the packaging. I love the blues and just the backdrop they have inside. And if you're an inbox collector, this is gonna display beautifully in your collection. Traditionally, he does come with the 5 additional hands. We have the sidekick and the DMR. He has that beautiful, nice mirrored visor. Despite the illustration on the back has a flat paint to it. Here's our boy Fred out of the packaging, rocking the Gen 3 Mjolnir armor. Now, a little backstory behind him. He led not only Red Team, but also Blue Team as well. Fought side by side with Master Chief, and he is technically a higher rank than John, but often he would let him take the reins and like lead the show. That's what makes him such a great leader, well respected with a lot of patience. He is also an excellent marksman, the second best sniper, and very proficient in mid to long range weapons. Because of that, a normal loadout for him is going to be the sidekick and the DMR. Now, the only issue I'm having with this figure is that he can't really hold the DMR with 2 hands. And that's just a combination of bulky shoulder pieces and a lack of a swivel joint here at the bicep. For example, this is the world of Halo. He has the exact same sculpting and everything to him, except he has a bicep swivel here, which will allow him to hold that DMR a lot better. After a little bit of posing, I was able to get him to hold it with both hands. He just can't shoulder the stock like as if he was aiming down sights, but you can still get some cool poses of him holding the DMR. But he can hold the assault rifle, and it's not perfect, but it does look a lot better than the DMR, and he can also do the exact same posing with the commando rifle also. He can hold the pistol pretty well though. I do think that the DMR might be a little too big. I think if it was a tad bit smaller, it would make it a little bit easier for him to hold it. So I just think the biggest area is going to be because he has such a wide shoulder piece here, it's just going to conflict with the rotation. I mean, there is a shoulder swivel up here, but it's limited because of how big this piece is. So I think a bicep swivel would do really well here. Like the previous Spartans, he does have that pin hidden within his armor. So all we have to do is take it, pull it out, flip it around, and then we can get him to holster the DMR. And it looks just like this once it's attached. He also has these areas at the side of his thigh armor, which can also flip outwards, and you can put his sidearm there. Since it comes with the sidekick, we will just place this on the right hand side, and it fits in there pretty snug. The rest of his articulation is actually pretty great. So one of the biggest changes is going to be at the knees. So they reverted back to the old design, but made it a little bit better also. This knee armor right here, this is all one piece. Instead of it being cut and two separate pieces and having like that gap there, which we saw from like Series 3 up until Series 6. So this just looks, I mean, a lot natural. It does have the double joints, which is great. And it's limited obviously by the Spartan's design and how big the armor is. But having that double joints gives it a lot of range of motion. And I mean, this is just tremendous. I'm so happy that they went back to this. I mean, that was one of the big reasons why I wasn't really buying the Spartan collection anymore. It's just the ergonomics, it just didn't look as natural. And then obviously I just fell in love with the world of Halo and just, again, the playability and how perfect that line is. I mean, look at this. I have his knees bent as much as I can get them, and they're basically completely folded on each other. And it looks good doing it too. So yeah, hip hip hooray for better knees. But on top of that, none of these joints are loose, which I know that was an issue with, Series 1 through 2, but this feels nice and sturdy, and there's nothing that's moving about. At his head, we have a hinge and a ball joint. We can move it upwards and also downwards with a great amount of movement. And I might be able to get it all the way around. Actually, maybe not. I just think part of that helmet's going to get in the way of the shoulder. But aside from that, he has a great range of motion looking from side to side, up and down. Of course, we can't forget a good close-up of what that mirrored visor looks like, and that's just a beautiful finishing touch to this figure. Going back to the shoulders, we have a swivel at the upper part of the bicep here, with a decent amount of range of motion, but it is limited to this shoulder armor. We can move the arms up about that high before it starts to get in the way, but we can take the arm and spin it all the way around. As cool as it would have been, the knives here at the shoulders cannot be removed, so there will be no inserting dominance into some Covenant folk. The biceps, however, have two joints, and we can move the arm about 90 degrees. And when we extend, we can go almost all the way straight. When it comes to the torso, we don't have quite as much range of motion. We can move it a little bit around, but nothing too crazy. The wrists have two joints. We have a hinge and swivel, so we can flex it forwards and backwards. That will allow him to hold his firearms a lot better. We can also take the hand and spin it around. To interchange the hands, it's just a simple peg in there. All you have to do is pull. It'll pop right on out. You can take whatever hand that you want and just push it right on side. Here's a look at the hands included with this figure. So the two to the left are the ones that came on his body. And then we have the 5 additional. So we have a right fist, we have a right trigger finger, open palm to the left and right, and then a left trigger finger. At his hips, he is halfway to the splits before the armor piece gets in the way. It is on a ball joint too, so we can move it inwards and outwards. We can also have him doing a seated position. There's also another joint here at the top part of the thigh, which will allow you to rotate the leg inwards and outwards. And finally, at the ankles and feet, we have 3 joints. So we have like a hinge type of movement here. We can also take the foot, spin it all the way around. And then we have a toe joint, which is awesome. It's just a basic hinge that will allow you to move it upwards and downwards. But like you saw earlier, because of those joints, I can get him to pose on one leg. Since I took a small hiatus from the Spartan collection, I don't have the rest of Blue Team, but we will do a side-by-side comparison of Master Chief and Fred. Now, they are both about 7 feet 2 inches, so they should be standing around the same height. Their armor should look basically identical. I mean, it is from the same generation. The biggest difference is going to be Fred's helmet, as well as his shoulders. Of course, I'll give you an epic posing of these two, and just showing you how beautiful they look together. The appearance of these Spartan collection figures is honestly top-notch. And it's those visors that really make it for me. Alright everyone, that's going to wrap up this review and unboxing of Fred from the Spartan Collection Series 7. My overall thoughts on this is I think it's a decent figure. It's been some time since I reviewed anything from the Spartan Collection, but I can tell their quality has definitely improved. So let's start with the price. They're ranging anywhere from $20 to $21, which is incredibly affordable for this figure. I mean, you have other brands out there that have figures that are smaller than this with less accessories, and they're like double the price. Or there's like other 375-inch scale figures that are almost the same price as a Spartan Collection one. So all in all, what you're getting for that price is fantastic. I mean, the sculpting, the mirrored visor, the 5 additional hands, the 2 weapons, I mean, that's so generous for that $20 price point. But this figure is lacking in posability, and that's what hurts it the most. And it's a combination of the big shoulder pieces and the lack of a bicep swivel. I mean, because of that, he can't shoulder his DMR to make it look natural, or having anything where he's aiming down sights. but that rifle might also have been sculpted a little too big. He can hold the assault rifle and the commando a lot better than the DMR, but since that's kind of one of his weapons of choice, you want to be able to have him holding it naturally. Aside from that, the rest of the posing throughout the body is fantastic. I would have maybe liked to have seen a little bit more motion at the torso, but fixing those double knees, I mean, that was perfect, and I'm so glad that they were able to do that. When it comes to the 5 additional hands, I've always been kind of up in the air about them. I mean, I do like the idea of having them and having different options to pose your figure, but it's not necessarily something that I need. So an option I've always thought about was taking out 2 or 3 of the additional hands, keeping 2 of them, but putting the rest of that budget into the quality of the figure. But regardless, if the hands do have to stay, I would say moving forward, we should have every Spartan come with 1 hand that can hold the energy sword. But for the price and everything that you're getting, I think it's worth picking up. I mean, despite the lack of posability, but you can swap some other rifles in there and that will get the job done. Or if you're crafty, you can kind of dig into the armor pieces and allow a little bit more range of motion that way. But that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'd love to know your thoughts on this figure down below. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram to stay up to date when new things drop, like these figures when they started hitting stores. I also post toy photography and toy videos. As always, if you like this video and you want to see more of it, be sure to like and subscribe. It is free, and we will see y'all Spartans in the next video.